Hi guys, I'm Julien here, one of the ranger in Fota. It is today International Sloth Day, so we'll learn a little bit more about sloth. During the day, these guys spend a lot of time sleeping, so you're looking at about 14 to 18 hours a day sleeping. They're all solitary animals and nocturnal, so obviously when it's nice and bright, he'd rather sleep. Lion's two-toed sloth. It's one of the 6 species of sloth. So they would be classified in two different families. So we have 4 species that are part of the 3-toed sloth, and then 2 which would be the 2-toed sloth. So it's probably one of the larger species. These guys will range between 7 to 10 kg. We get 2 feeds a day, roughly between 200 to 300 grams of food per meal. He's got available as well some of the browse, so he will nibble on especially the new leaves on the ficus tree there we have in the tropical house growing. We will supply him as well with different browse coming from the outside, so some sally or willow or things like that he's going to nibble at as well. And that would be the main part of the diet these guys would have in the wild. It's mainly leaves. They have a really slow metabolism, so they will eat a lot, but it's going to take a long time to digest. So sloth live in the tree. They're all arboreal species. Most of the time, they're only going to come down to the ground usually once a week, and that's for going to the toilet. So having that slow metabolism, they're only going to have to go to the loo once a week. And he's got, we know he has a favorite spot, so we just pick up after him. But it's it's not a daily routine. These guys have evolved to live in the tree and then spend most of their time hanging off the branches. They evolved as far as their hair on the body growing a different way, so they will grow away. For example, on the belly, the hair would grow away towards the back. That means when you're upside down and it's raining, the rain's actually going to run down alongside the hair, so they won't get wet on the inside. They can actually stay quite warm. And there is some algae, so sometimes in the wild or in captivity, the sloth looks a little bit greenish in color. It is because there's a lot of algae growing on the hair, and that will provide in the wild a little bit of camouflage, so they will be really blending in a little bit more with that green color into the leaves. But also once they're going to groom their hair, it's an additional nutrition they're going to get from the algae that's growing on their body. And then obviously those long powerful claws that will just help them to hang off the branches. So I said they go down once a week on the ground. That's where they're really vulnerable to predators. Things like jaguars or sloths would actually being able to tag them a lot easier on the ground. Fairly slow animals, but they can move quickly. They would have a burst of energy if they need to run away from a predator. These guys can actually swim as well. They've been seen crossing rivers. Now in the tropical house, we haven't seen him swimming. I'd say he doesn't really need the swimming. Probably that behavior in the wild would be just to reach other sources of food or potential mates during breeding season. He's got everything he needs here, so he doesn't have to really go for a dip. And he would get most of his so he's got a water dish as well in case he needs it, but they're going to get most of their water intake through the fruit and veg that he's going to get.